One Percenter Podcast with Sam Bakhtiar, bringing you the 1% knowledge to help you reach your full potential. Learn what it takes to rise above the 99% and become a 1%er.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the One Percenter Podcast. Is your host Sam Bakhtiar. I have some very, very awesome, special, amazing guests here for you today. Ali and Luis Fonts, my business partners, some people that I started a camp with many years ago. And I want to welcome you to the show. Thank you very much for maybe walking the block. I think you guys drove. We live right next to each other.
Yeah, it's a 30-second drive.
That is awesome.
Happy to be here, man.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us here.
Of course. You know, first thing first, man, we met how many years ago?
About
I think
10?
2006, more than 10.
More than 10
yeah.
then. Yeah, 2006 we became clients at Fitness Concepts.
2006, and at that time you came and you were what, 240 pounds?
About 240 pounds, that's right, man.
240 pounds,
Yeah.
You know, I helped you lose what, 40 pounds? Is that what it was?
Probably more than that. I think it's about 50, yeah.
And now is what? It's like a decade later, and now you're in the best shape of your life right now.
Looking better, feeling good, looking good, man. Yeah, really happy.
Well, really quick, man, I want to just go back for a second. You know, it's always life is a trip. You know, when we first met, did you ever thought, one, we become business partners, know each other for this long, we own a franchise and other businesses together, have done millions and millions, probably hundreds of millions of dollars by now together, and have such an awesome relationship? Did you ever in a million years, this blows my mind, did you, Ali?
Not at all. I remember the first time I encountered you was through a flyer that came in from Fitness Concepts. And they would always come in and I'd be like, Luis, you should go. Who would have ever thought? That was probably 13, 14 years ago. Who would have ever thought?
Did you ever think about that? Do you ever just go back and be like, my God, if because of that step, you know, that this whole thing wouldn't happen. Like, it's almost like a movie script, God's plan all of a sudden put together. You know, I know, sometimes I look back, I'm like, man, this is crazy. And for us to know each other and have such an amazing business relationship and build something from the ground up together. Yeah. So let's go back. I want to get to know your guys' history really quick. You know, so how'd you guys meet?
We used to work together. We've been married now for almost 21 years, but we started out, working. I was like probably 22 years old. Yeah. Luis was, 28, working together at a bank, different departments. He saw me and
he fell in love. He saw you, was like, oh, I'm in love.
The funny thing is that her boss told me that she had been hired and she was going to start on Monday. And he said, oh, we hired this Colombian girl. She's very elegant, very pretty. She'll be here on Monday. So I was like, I'm ready, man.
Colombian girl, pretty elegant and ready. You put your best suit on?
My best suit on, my tie. And I was just walking around with like a clipboard, pretending to be busy. You know what I mean? It's like, when is this girl going to be here? And then sure enough, man, I ran into her in the hallway. I was walking out of the office space. There's a door in between. And she walked in with one of her bosses back then, and she introduced me to her, and I said, "Oh man, what a pretty girl."
This is was it love at first sight?
I think so.
I don't know about love, but I think
you guys have mutual attraction.
Yeah, it was like, okay, this is a possibility.
Yeah,
here.
Okay.
So I started pursuing her, and she was playing hard to get at first, man.
Really? Did you play hard to get?
What's up with that?
A little bit, yeah.
Well, I mean, you can't be too interested, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And this is a funny story. One time, she didn't know that I had a phone back then. I had a dial, like an I don't know what kind of
caller ID.
Like caller ID. Yeah. Not too many phones at the bank had that. So she would call me, and I could see her extension, and she would hang up on me.
Just to see if he was still in the office.
But then I knew she was interested, though.
Yeah, that's when you know, all right, this girl's interested in playing hard to get. So I think all that. Did you guys, when you guys met, and started dating, did you know that, wow, one day you're going to have 2 children, 21 years later. And you know what, I look at you guys, man, and I've told you guys in person before, and I don't want to get all, emotional about it, but you guys are like the perfect couple. Like you guys are like work together. do everything together. God, I think you guys go to the bathroom together. You know what I mean? Like what the hell? You guys are together 24/7. Like if I see Ali, I know Luis is like 5 steps away, or it's like you guys have separation anxiety, when something's not there. It's kind of crazy when I hear like Ali, I think I was out of town. Crystal said, yeah, I went to dinner with Ali. I said, where's Luis? I got started panicking, what's going on here? You know what I mean? And I'm like, Ali went with you and Luis wasn't there.
What's up with that, right?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
That's funny.
So I see you guys, because most people cannot do that. Right. Most people don't have the kind of relationship that they can be together at work, at home, and all that kind of stuff. A lot of that doesn't work. But you guys have managed to do it, and I don't know how do you do it?
Good question.
I think the underlying factor is, first of all, obviously love and respect. Tremendous mutual respect for each other. I think that goes before even love, really. I mean, the reason
especially in a working environment, right?
Yeah, exactly. The reason we have such a strong relationship is because he respects me and I respect him above so many things. Yeah. And then, of course, love.
And then, she's always happy, so that she's always in a good mood no matter
she's
what the challenge is.
Yeah, always positive.
So, I think I tend to be a little bit more difficult when it comes to that, but she's always in a good mood.
So am I, though. I mean, I'm saying, way the world can be crushing down on us, and Ali just finds a way to look at it. Oh, it's a brighter side. I'm like, there is no brighter side. You know what I mean? And Ali was like, well, actually, there is a brighter side. And I was like, well, she has a point. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of hard, and have you guys ever, and I want to know this because I don't know, because I see you guys always together, always having fun. Have you guys ever been through a difficult time, in your relationship?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have, like you were like, okay, I'm going to break up.
No, I mean, I don't think break up, but we've had actually in relation to Luis's weight loss and my interest in fitness, that put a strain on our relationship back, when I first started getting into fitness.
What you talking about? You gotta get your fat ass in shape, girl.
No, that's the thing, that she never complained. Now I realize.
I never voiced my dissatisfaction.
Concern,
never did.
Concern.
Never.
She would have been a good diplomat. She could have worked at the United Nations,
I didn't want to make him feel that, of course.
She never insulted me, never insinuated that she wasn't happy. She tried to motivate me,
definitely. I remember, if I'm not mistaken, when you guys came to sign up with me years and years ago, I think she came for a month or so just to give you support while she was there, right?
Yeah.
Right, and then you went, and doing things. Got
exactly,
it.
Yeah. And I think the difficult times hasn't been in terms of our relationships, but more about, our careers or finances, how we go through ups and
That's
downs.
That's amazing, because not many people can say that. How many people can say that, pretty much these days, as soon as something doesn't go right, I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah, totally.
So when you guys got married, you said, okay, till death do us apart. I mean, like, you guys know that, hey, man, that's never an option.
Yeah.
And that's how a marriage should be.
Absolutely.
It's never been like, okay, I'm out. This and that.
No, and totally. It's, in everything that we do, with our business and our personal life, we have commitment. With our marriage. My purpose is, in our marriage, is for her to be happy. So I'm not going to do stuff that's going to make her unhappy or create friction in our relationship. And I think it's vice versa too, right?
And I think maybe that's why. And we believe in the same. As you know, I've been divorced, but it wasn't my choice. Right. It wasn't like, even though I wasn't happy, I would have never went and filed for divorce. I would have said, what, when I said death to us part, but when it wasn't my choice, I was kind of like devastated, because once I commit to something, I'm done. This is me, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to do the best I can. And since we believe in that commitment, I believe that's why our partnerships have worked so this long, and we have that kind of trust with each other when we know we're committed in our own best interest. I know if I'm not somewhere, Ali is acting on my behalf, and I'm going to be acting on you and on both of your behalfs. You know what I mean? And I think that's one thing. Because as you know, most partnerships fail, and we have had partnerships that go sideways as soon as something doesn't go right. Oh, I'm out. You know what I mean? It's easy to do that, right? It's easy to, this is not going right. Oh my God. It's easy to be in a relationship or a business partnership when everything's going well, everybody's making money, or everything's going well. But as soon as something goes south, most people want to jump off the ship. I'm out. But we are committed to that, and I think that's why, in a business partnership or in a relationship or marriage, that's a big That's a big thing.
Yeah, they say marriages and partnerships, business partnerships, are so similar, and they really are. You're practically married to the person,
Yes.
on a business level. So trust, honesty, integrity is such a huge part of all of our relationship.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's been so successful.
Okay, so you guys, met, dated how long?
We dated like 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years?
Yeah.
And I think you told me a story that as soon as you met her parents, that was it.
That was it, yeah.
That was it, right?
Yeah.
You remember, like, wow, she comes with a great family,
That's a done deal.
and her parents just, opened you open arms, and that was it. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I was at a point in my life where I was ready to settle down and get married, but I knew for some reason, and I don't know where I got this, but, I just kind of wanted the whole package. I just wanted to have a nice family. That meant, wife and loving, in-laws and kids. So when I met her, I was thinking, okay, I need to meet, her parents. And
because a beautiful girl's a dime a dozen, right?
Exactly.
I mean, she's beautiful not only on the outside, but on the inside, and she has the foundation.
Absolutely. And she's always very well dressed. So I picture her dad being, some rich brain surgeon, like in Brentwood or something like that, So I was kind of like afraid, right? I was kind of concerned about meeting her parents. But when I met them, I knew for a fact she's the one.
One thing I noticed with Allie, that she's well dressed, whether she's broke, because I've seen her broke. I've seen her, from, we've been through it at the same time. Right. When we opened the account, we're all broke. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I remember seeing you, even when you had nothing and you were, going through all the hardships and, all that kind of stuff. When the business closed down, you always made sure you take care of yourself. You always presented yourself well. You always dressed well. Yeah. And so did you. You know what I mean? And where most people are like, okay, I don't want, they just give up on everything and all that. Yeah. You never did that. And I noticed that you're the same person. Whether that you had nothing or now that you are a multimillionaire, you're the same person. Right. It's amazing to see that you haven't changed. I'm sure we all know people say, oh, she's changed. She thinks she's all that. No, you've been you made $25 look good. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. You went out and you put an outfit together for $25, whatever it was, and whatever we had the budget at the time. I remember
you used to be shocked at me, like, oh my God, it'd be like $30.
And she still does. She still does. People think that you spend a lot of money and you don't. Maybe on the shoes, but on the clothes, she doesn't spend more than $50, $60 sometimes. Yeah. I'm not supposed to be saying this, but hey, it's true.
Well, Allie, I remember when we first started, man, Allie is very, very, very frugal. Very frugal. I remember, when we first started, she'll come and tell me, what is this $14.99, from this thing, I'm like, $14.99, it was like, I don't know, but she held us accountable, which I'm the opposite, I'm the opposite, man. I can get her away, I can spend this, I can spend that and this, and hasn't been for her, man, she always, made sure the account grew and we had enough extra reserves and, everything else like that, So when did you guys get married? After 2 years, you got married?
Got married in 98.
98. And how long after that was Alex born?
2001. Like 3 years.
Okay, so 3 years later?
3 years later.
Awesome. And how was that?
It was good. And that was a point in our life where we were trying to figure things out. I was working in something completely unrelated. Luis had a job. No, you had the Subway. At the time. So we were just struggling, trying to make ends meet. We had huge dreams and we were trying to
figure out
how to reach them. So when Alex came, it was a struggle, financially. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he brought so much joy into our lives, but it was tough. We were at a point in our career where we were really trying to take the next step.
How, it's funny because when, Bailey was born, that was when we, started getting together and I was struggling financially and things like that. And I think our children, gives us that motivation, right? I'm going like this. I'm like, I can't be a deadbeat dad. I can't be a broke dad. I want to be able to do it. So, I remember, I put everything together. Tell me about Subway though. I know you owned a Subway. Right. What year did you open the Subway? And tell me a little about that business.
In 1996, I went on my own. It's always been a dream to become an entrepreneur. I know a lot of my family and friends were shocked initially that I had quit the bank and working for the bank to sell sandwiches. That's how they put it,
Well, especially like Latino culture, right?
Right? Absolutely. But it's a very good experience. I was young, had a big ego. And I went in there with the attitude that I was going to show Subway how to sell sandwiches.
So you're doing what our franchisee do to us now. We have a formula, man. Don't change it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
If they came in and say, if you do this and that, your sales will go up, and I would do totally the opposite. So they hated me. And when I was ready to expand and open up another one, they said, no, you know what? As a matter of fact, we're going to take this opportunity not to, not only not approve your second location, but we want you out, And I said, fine, you don't want me, and then I'm out of here. So I sold it and just kind of moved on. But it was a very good learning experience.
Gosh, man.
Amazing.
Gosh,
And it has really actually helped us in our position now. We use a lot of
that same concept. Hey, man, this is what I did.
Some of the operational things that we learned back then, and we're still using them. And then
isn't it weird how life came around, come this way? Everything comes this way.
Everything in our path.
So then after that, what did you start?
Shoot, I went and got a job right away, man. I'm one of those people. I'm not going to sit around and do anything.
You've never been that way.
Never. So by the time, that I put, the Subway for sale, which I sold probably like in 30 days, I had resumes out there, man, And I got a job, doing something that I really didn't have a lot of passion for, that I didn't really like. But like I said, man, I knew
you had to make income. You had a boy to feed, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So I was working at a consulting firm, not as a consultant, but I was in the finance department at a consulting firm in downtown LA. So we had a 2-hour commute, every morning, man. I would have to go at the Metro Link and then go to downtown. And I think I was making maybe $4,000 a month at the end of the month, it's just crazy. But hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. We always been that way. We get that. Okay, when did you start the cookware company?
Yeah, well, I wasn't really too happy, just working at a company where I didn't really feel a sense of purpose, and I didn't really enjoy doing, my own thing. So an opportunity arose to join a direct selling company, high-end cookwares and pots and pans and water filters and so on. And that's kind of a little bit more up my alley, sales and just kind of doing something, building a business. But, we made a fundamental mistake, and you can probably agree to this, that we made the decision based on the potential of making money and not having a passion. That is, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I think that's most people make that mistake, right? Because, at the end, that's an empty field for you to go, right? If you go to a job that you don't really like to do, with people you don't like to really work with, and I don't care how much money you make, after a while you kind of lose your soul. You feel like, you're dying inside, But at the time, when you're broke, when you need money at the time, wow, money. But when you do that, you're like, God, I can't, I can't do it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we started that in 2003. You came on board in 2006. So she helped definitely when she came in. We started scaling up the business. We probably doubled our sales back then. But since you don't love what you're doing, you kind of put a ceiling on your.
Yeah, it was dreadful. It was awful. I hated every second of it. Even though financially we were fine, we were.
I know financially you guys weren't good. I remember, I met you guys at the time.
Exactly.
You guys, were always dressed up to the hill. Louis had some beautiful suits. Always wears suits and all. Which to me, I was brought up. I'm Persian, so I'm brought up to see if you wearing that suit and tie, you made it, right? You made it. So you know what I mean?
You're successful.
Now we know, man. I want to be in a shirt and flip flops, man. I don't want to be suit and tie, right? And I remember you guys had some nice cars, and that's when I met you guys, and I'm like, wow, they're the fonts, man, and I know then the recession hit, and what happened then?
And before, I want to say that before we jump into that, even though we were clients, we felt that there was a friendship also. When we went to Fitness Concepts, I felt that, there was a friendship there, even though we were just clients. So we never felt like a number or just like a client. I knew that there was a friendship there. So, we're doing very well. Our business was driven by the rise of the real estate boom. And in 2009, with the financial crisis, everything collapsed. We had shut down the business. We were in debt because I started to, me, man. I'm about scaling up and growing. So I started borrowing to scale up the business. We're in debt, but not a whole lot.
And did you guys put a deposit on Miami penthouse or something
exactly,
like that? I remember that, right?
Yeah,
Remember
that's
that?
right.
We were expanding into Miami. We bought a place down there. So we were scaling up the business. The economy turned against us, and we had to shut it down. And we were in debt, and we had to file for bankruptcy. And it's one of those periods in our lives where we're like, what the heck are we gonna do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The last thing we want to do is go get a job. We looked at each other.
You can't, once you're an entrepreneur, then you can go back and get a job. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Even though you did, I'll talk about it. Don't you not admit it for like 1 month. But I'll tell you, no matter what she says, man, this is the truth. I'm gonna tell you the truth.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
But it's a very difficult time because the uncertainty. We had a house, we had
two kids by that time.
Not a lot of money in savings. We had some savings, thank God, that we did. But it was just that uncertainty. But we looked at each other and we said, look, this is an opportunity to find something that we love to do. We talked about it and said, let's knock on 10 doors.
Yeah, the experience at the other company was so good because we got the feel for, being entrepreneurs, being on our own, having some success in that company, but then also the experience of hating what we were doing. So gosh, this is our chance to do something we love.
Now you look back, it was the biggest blessing in disguise,
really,
right? It was a blessing in disguise.
Totally, 100% was.
Imagine if it wouldn't happen, you would have still been doing it because the money was good. You already built it up, and you stuck in something you don't want to be.
We would have been miserable.
Yeah.
Totally.
No matter how much the money was,
exactly.
all that kind of stuff, you'd be miserable.
So you found a lot of passion in fitness, and you knew that you wanted to pursue something in that. And I was doing sales and a collection. I was looking into some other stuff, but we knew we had something to do. So her idea was to approach you and get a job at Fitness Concepts. Remember that? To learn the business and try to do something.
Yeah, I remember like it was yesterday when she called me. I was just, hey, Sam, how you doing? I'm like, hey, Ali, how you doing? She's like, I was wondering if I can come work for you and, do some training. I go, what? And I was shocked. And I was like, because I always knew that, you had a good life. You're not, you're not a trainer that want to come in and just work.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, sure. And I know you came in and you started working. You started doing great. All your clients love you, and and you came early. I remember you were at 5 o'clock in the morning. I know that. And when then one day you said, Sam, can I talk to you? And you came up with the, hey, let's open up a boot camp together, right? And you can talk more about that.
Yeah, so I loved it. I didn't realize how much I was gonna love fitness.
Well, look, this is, let me see. You guys both, let's look at that. Gosh, Luis.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Luis, how much did you, see, here's what I always tell you, and I told you this in person. Now I know you could sell. Because if you sold Ali on the left picture to marry you, you know what I mean?
I'm a closer, right?
You are a closer, man. Like you are by far have that, man. You know what I mean? In Ali's, when a girl like Ali's like, you're gonna think twice. I don't know if I want to get rejected today. You know what I mean? But you went in there like 250 pounds. That's more than 240 right there, man. You know what I mean?
Probably.
That's like 250, 255 right there.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you closed her, man. I'm like, wow.
And you're not gonna find too many pictures of me like that because I wouldn't let anybody take a picture of me.
And now here's you a couple of weeks ago. Look, you have reverse aging. Yeah. You look 10 times better. You look younger. Look, you have a waist. Yeah. And that's just amazing, man. It's just amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing, man.
Well, a lot of it is what I learned from you.
Thank you. And you were doing the work. I saw you the other day, like pushing 110 pounds. I was like, I can't even do that. I've been working longer than he has been doing it. He's always been there.
Yeah.
He's always been there. And Ali, tell me about the picture on the left.
So that was actually already 8 months into working out. That I was also
You were skinny fat.
I was skinny fat, but just super self-conscious of my body, so I would never let anyone take pictures of me. Unfortunately, I waited like 8 months to take that before picture. So I was even
worse than that.
I was even worse than that. But when I found, a passion for fitness, I didn't realize how gratifying it really would be, to help people and guide people and people feel like you're actually making a difference in their life. And that's what I experienced at Fitness Concepts when I was working there. And that's really what made me realize, my God, I need to do this, but I'm not gonna just train one client at a time. I wanna do it on a big scale. And that's exactly why, I approached you about it. I figured, I don't really know the fitness industry. You do, perfect combination.
Yeah, we talked. And I remember at the time we were both broke. You know, it was in the middle of a recession. You know, at that time, my house had been getting foreclosed notices, man. You know, and I was barely I was selling cars, and I was literally looking at a bank account every day, making sure nothing bounces and all that kind of stuff. And you approached me, and I'm like, man, boot camp, this group training. I'm like, what is this? Is that some that Jane Fonda stuff that people jump up and down with leotards? I'm like, I don't believe in that. I'm a bodybuilder. I want to lift heavy weights, and people are not going to get results with 20 people, one trainer. I'm like, Ali, let me get rid of. This is what my friend thought. I'm like, let me give her a bunch of stuff. She's not going to do it, so I can get rid of her quick. I'm like, Ali, here is a list. Go get this done, and we'll talk. And I was expecting you to not come back. And I'm like, okay, this is the end of her, it's not because this is exact same protocol I've done to other people, right. And nobody has done the job. And to my surprise, it was like the next day. Mm-hmm. You came out with your little check. I did this. I'm waiting on this. I'm doing this. I'm like, oh my God, this is she's the real deal. She wants this. But I'm like, I don't want to do this still. Let me give her more stuff. So I literally give her, I'm like, do these two. We need to get this done. Before I come in, I need to get this done, right? And, you came back, and a couple of days later, you came in, checked it all off. I'm like, shit, I'm stuck, because I didn't want to do it. Right. I'm your first one. I didn't want to do it. I'm like, oh my God, And what a blessing that was, What a blessing that was. Everything, like I said, happens for a reason. God has a bigger plan. Yeah. So I remember, I'm like, I looked at my bank account. I think I had like $9,000, in my bank account. I'm like, looked at you. I'm like, I got $9,000 to spend. She goes, that's all we need, and that's all we need. And then I think I have a picture of like, this is it, right? This is $9,000. This is the first day or the first time the camp was. And
this picture on the left is the first Saturday, literally.
It's the first Saturday of the camp.
Yeah, we would let everyone in for free.
For a free Saturday boot camp. Yeah.
So,
do you remember a lady they came in? We said it was a free Saturday, just one Saturday. You can use one Saturday a week, right? And I came in for 5 or 6 Saturdays. She came in, you know what I mean? And I'm like, and I told myself, this lady better not come for another free Saturday. I'm not signing up. So sure enough, she pulls up 5 minutes late, and she gets out of a convertible Mercedes. Remember that? Yeah. She gets out of a convertible Mercedes. I'm like, hey, what are you doing here? She goes, I'm here for the free Saturday workout. I'm like, well, you've been here for the past 6 weeks. You know what I mean? I'm like, don't you feel bad? Don't you feel, kind of, people have no shape sometimes, right? And I said, well, so one Saturday free. After that, you have to kind of sign up. And she said, I can't afford it. Yeah. I'm like, you can't jump out of a brand new convertible Mercedes. Tell me you can't afford a $97 at the time a month boot camp, right. And that's what I was like, oh my God, people will just do anything. Yeah. You know what I mean? So look at our logo. Remember that? Man, remember that part?
Isn't that? We're so happy when we had that.
Totally. We thought that was a game changer.
Look at the fans.
The fans.
I remember we started getting complaints about people's back hurting.
Yeah.
Because there was no flooring, right?
Yeah.
We had just concrete floors. There was no flooring. Yeah. And I was like, come on, man, stop complaining. It's a workout. Your back is not going to hurt. It's not going to do that. And then I took a class one day. My back, next morning, I couldn't get up with back pain. My back was jacked up. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh my God, we kind of really need to get some flooring. This is they're not just complaining. This is legit, And I remember what you can't see here. I don't know if you remember that one day when I had a fit, when we literally played the same CD. We had a boombox, and we had one CD, right? And that one CD we played over and over again. Yeah. And there was one song by Rihanna that it kept playing after the one song, and then the next song. I kind of had to memorize the whole damn playlist because we played it 6 times a day for a year, right? Yeah. Every hour. And I remember, I'm going like this. I'm upstairs. I'm listening. I'm like, if that Rihanna song come on one more time, I'm just gonna fucking lose it. You know what I mean? And sure enough, came out. I'm like, we gotta get a different CD. I can't take this no more. I'm done. And that was our humble beginning.
Totally.
And
I love it though. It was such a great experience. And in the middle of it, even though it was tough, obviously, teaching the classes and doing it, the follow-ups and stuff, but it was fun.
It was fun. Really fun. It was a lot of learning lessons, and it was it was a baby that we started together, and we were just seeing it from the ground up. And it was like kind of give us a new life, a new outlook, and everything else like that. Yeah. What a that's our humble beginning. And now we're like, like I said, we're over the past, 3-4 years, we've sold hundreds of millions. Now 110 franchises and growing. We have supplement companies and everything else like that. I'm looking back and it's like, wow, man.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, pretty amazing. Pretty much, I'm looking forward to see what we can do in the next few years. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what else we got.
So that's when we got some mats there.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, we finally got some mats. Yeah, we changed the logo, a little bit.
Yeah.
We changed the logo a little bit and make it a little more, a little more presentable. That's when we started. We were working out together a little bit, and
yeah, that was at the new Chino location.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Classes were always packed. Yeah. Even though we were learning, trying to figure out,
Yeah, but we always focused on the client.
Yeah.
Always helping the client.
Always get them results. I mean, relationship. And
experience.
Experience. That's what we always do. So when we started the camp, I remember, it's like we were so happy to get started, and all that kind of stuff. I think we forgot something huge. We forgot a partnership agreement.
Oh, yeah.
Our partnership agreement was a handshake.
Totally.
Hey, we're partners, 50-50, let's do this, you know what I mean? And we never had problems or anything like that until we got started getting a little bit bigger, and then people were like, well, we got to structure we have to form a corporation, because at first we didn't get incorporated, right. And later on, they're like, well, where's your partnership agreement? I'm like, what partnership agreement? We don't know anything. Like, we don't have a partnership agreement. We don't have anything like that. And it was like, oh no, it's probably a good thing for us to do, in case of like death or divorce or something, like, all that kind of stuff. So it was just based on trusting each other, based on our integrity, and based on our commitment to each other.
Yeah.
We started this company.
I think we didn't start the partnership agreement until like 2015, I believe it was.
Yeah.
It was
yes.
I think we into
5 years into
it. 5 years into it.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Crazy.
Isn't that crazy? Right now, like most people, when they want to meet with you, even before I even meet with you, you used to have to sign an NDA.
Yeah,
you have to do this and do that. And I'm like, I'm like, that's not how it works. It's not the way we did it wasn't the right way of doing it, but it worked for us because our commitment and, our commitment, our trust in each other, how crazy is that? So I remember we couldn't even afford a trainer. And, you taught every single class, from morning, for the first month at least, right?
I remember when we first opened, we had like 8 classes a day.
I think it was 10.
10 classes, you're right.
I somehow convinced her.
It was like even 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 a.m. and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 p.m. It was insane. It was insane, which... We know now that's not necessary.
No, we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah, we didn't know.
For a month, you did 10-hour workouts. 10-hour workouts, same CD, same music. Concrete floors. Oh my God. And then we were able to hire our first trainer. Uh-huh. Oh my God, what a disaster that was. Totally. What a disaster that was. And we learned lessons. We have so many,
learning experience.
Learning experiences and all that kind of stuff. And for marketing, Luis, me and you used to go and put flyers out on cars, and we used to walk up the hill and we just do whatever it took.
Whatever it took. I remember we used to do the flyers inside of a bag with a rock. Mm-hmm. So I would have thousands of flyers in my garage. It would take us probably 3 days, to put every single flyer in those little sandwich bags with a rock. So I was excited about it. The first time you and I went, she was driving my 2001 Expedition. And this is the very first flyer I threw out. I threw it out the window and I broke the rear view mirror on the side.
Of the Explorer?
The Expedition.
The very first one, man. I just went, pow!
So he hit with the rock?
Yeah,
the
side mirror. Oh man, it didn't matter. We just kept on going, man. Who cares?
That's hilarious.
It's fun.
That is,
and the attitude, whatever it takes, man.
Totally.
And then we were like we were like a year and a half into it. Then we started our second location, which was Rancho, right? Rancho, and wow, man, what a crazy building! That was like a weird shaped building, and it was. Wow.
And the amazing thing is that we would go, and even with Rancho, with Chino, number one. But with Rancho, it's this tiny location. The shape was kind of weird. And I would look at her, and her face would light up, You could see her eyes and the smile. And Do you remember this? I told you, can you stop right now and explain to me what's your vision? Because I just don't freaking see it.
Yeah, she always see that bright side.
Oh, we can have 2 dumbbells right here and 1 ball there and 1 little mat here. And I was like, wow, but we did it.
And back then we were doing everything ourselves. Yeah. Everything. We were buying it, bringing it, bringing it, setting it up. We were doing everything ourselves. Yeah. I remember one time, boss lady scolded me like a child. like I was like, I've never been scolded. To this day, I don't think I've ever been scolded. Like, I think we had like a client appreciation party, right, in Chino. And so I came in, we were having a good time and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, all right, guys, I'm gonna leave. And she was like, what do you mean you're gonna leave? You need to clean up. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't clean up, I gotta clean up. You ever clean up? Well, what do you mean? You can't leave, clean up. I was like, I'm looking at her, I'm like, okay, I will clean up. Like she literally and she had a point though. You know what I mean? Like we didn't have anybody cleaning up and all that kind of stuff. It's not like I'll come in, I'm gonna show up and clean up. Like she's like, who the f you think you are? I'm not cleaning up after you. You know? And I was like, man,
that's hilarious.
That's funny.
So then we started to open up our own locations. Right, we started opening up our own locations. We started having some success. Yeah. And I remember when our first franchisee licensee approached us. I remember Michelle approached us. Hey, I want to open up a camp. Yeah. And I'm like, we're not opening up camps. It's all ours. Well, I want to open up a camp. And I'm like, gosh, I kind of treated her like you first approached me. I'm like, oh, she's not serious, man. I'm not gonna. And she literally approached 30 times. Yeah. And I finally came to you and she said, hey man, she's serious. She's ready to write a check. What do we do? I'm like, oh, maybe we can have an attorney draft a quick agreement. Yeah. And that's when the word got out that camp is a business opportunity, and next thing you know, we're getting hit up left and right. And next thing you know, we started, expanding exponentially with our own corporate locations. And now all these licenses and that were opening up.
Yeah, that was a crazy time.
That was a crazy time. We didn't know what we were doing. We were just happy, that we were popular and we were expanding. Yeah. And I messed up a lot of things. You know what I mean? I'm looking at it, I'm going like, man, maybe it wasn't the right thing to do. Yeah. But we were just happy being expanded.
But we've all made so many mistakes throughout the years, but they've all really helped us grow and learn. And without the mistakes we've made, we wouldn't know how to proceed. Really, it's like just a way to correct.
But we come, all 3 of us, we have a philosophy that we truly believe that a business person has the responsibility to always be growing, right? So for some reason, we always thought we just got to grow. We just got to keep growing. Open up another one. It's just, always can do better, right?
Absolutely. We've done a lot well. We failed a lot, but we learn from our mistakes, and that's how, every business and every entrepreneur journey, was made. And we became a franchise. Mm-hmm. We became a franchise, and now we are a full-on franchise with FDDs and, attorneys and, all the legal stuff. And these are stuff that we weren't used to. Like, it's not like, we got together, it's not like we got together back here and say, hey, let's open up a franchise. Back, here, we were like, man, let's open up something, that we like, that we enjoy, and be able to make some money to feed our family. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like, oh, hey, let's get together and, we're going to do this and open up 110 locations and have all this. And we weren't thinking that. A lot of people were like, do you always want to do this? I'm like, no, man, this is all God's plan, accident. It just came to me. Like, I was kind of pushed this way, and it was by the plan. And, now that I look back at it, I'm like, I'm like, how did I get here? Right. How did we get here? Yeah. And it's just, it's crazy. It's totally surreal.
Yeah. When you're sitting in the room in your office with 5 ladies, they're all accountants, going over financial statements for all of our business entities, and you're like, how in the heck did I end up here? Right?
Yeah, like it's like the email I got last night, right? The email, I'm like, dude, I thought it was 3 months ago. I'm like, dude, I don't know what happened yesterday. You said, dude, it was 15 months ago. I'm like, dude, 15 months ago? You got to tell me. I don't have no clue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's surreal.
Yeah, like, I mean.
It's surreal, especially like I've been, working ever since I got out of high school. I was always working at like a professional type of business, a law firm, an architectural firm, a bank, real estate company. So it was always dealing with these like high level people that I worked for. I was either, assistant manager or whatever, secretary, and all of a sudden, I'm the one calling the shots. Like, oh my God, it's surreal. Yeah. It's completely surreal.
That's why we call you the boss lady.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy, but it's pretty amazing that it's available to anyone. You don't have to be a Harvard grad. You just have to work. Yeah. You just have to work hard.
Knowing what you know now, and this is a question that I want to, talk to you guys, because you guys have 2 boys that are pretty soon going to be ready to go to college, right? And this is something that I struggle with all the time. Do you think college is necessary for someone to become successful in life?
No, I don't think it's necessary. I do think it's...
To become successful, yeah.
To become successful, I don't think it's necessary. But I do think it definitely helps to form a person. It helps with responsibility and education. Yeah. Obviously, education is good. You have to know things about the world. But to be successful, I don't think it's the formula.
We don't really care where Alexander's going to go to college.
We don't care where he goes to college. As long as he graduates with a 4-year degree, he could go to, I went to Cal State LA. That's a basic school. Yeah. It never held me back.
What if somebody, what if somebody's already have, great, skills, great responsibility, is very mature, do they need to go to college, you think? That's what because I'm asking these questions because, I'm a few years, behind you guys, and I'm always struggling with that, because when I'm looking back, college, yes, did mold me, but I was immature, man. I was immature. I didn't even mature up till I was like 35. You know what I mean? College molded me to being punctual, meet deadlines, being able to multitask, multi-projects, and all that kind of stuff. But if I was somebody who already had those skills built in me, then I think college might have waste. College helps you how to work with others, all that kind of stuff. This is something I'm still struggling with when my daughters grow up. Yeah. What am I going to do?
Yeah, absolutely. Bottom line, I think the education that they're going to get at home, as far as business goes and their careers, I think it's going to be, 10 times better that any other university can provide, But as far as, providing the discipline, the critical thinking aspect of it,
and just being exposed to topics that, you maybe won't be really reading about, anthropology and whatever, just being worldly, kind of knowing.
Well-rounded.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's important.
But, to be successful in life, I don't think it's necessary.
So, has Alex, showed any interest in any college?
Yes.
Yeah, he's interested in going to college for sure. Yeah, he's not.
Which one? Do you know which one?
So he's going to go to a junior college initially, the first 2 years, and then he's going to transfer. He's thinking probably Irvine.
Okay, awesome.
UC Irvine. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's see what else we got. Oh, wow. Okay, my favorite topic.
Cars.
Yeah, my favorite topic. I know me and you are big car fans. When did you become a car fan? I know you always had nice cars, Luis.
Yeah. The sad thing about going through difficult times is sometimes it affects you in terms of maybe, hey, cars now are not a priority, but it's not so much that they're not a priority or maybe that will make you happy. It's the fact that you just kind of throw in the towel.
No, I've done that. Yeah. I've done that. I mean, you guys used to laugh at me. Yeah. And I went through a serious, like that, and I know, when we all went through, that recession, we were so trying to survive. Absolutely. That we kind of like, I'm going to put my passion. I don't have a passion. My passion is useless, right. Anyway, so I don't need to have a passion. And, we put it all off. Exactly. But I don't know about you, because I remember I drove the company car for like 3.5, 4 years, even though I could afford whatever I wanted to, you know what I mean? And you guys were like, but I felt like somebody like killed my soul. Right. you know, because ever since can remember as a little boy, I had little toy cars, and I was playing with Ferraris and you know, cars, and you know, and all that. And for some people, it's all about a show. For us, is a passion. You know, it's a passion. You know what I mean? It's not about a show and all that kind of stuff. You you have an old Porsche. You know what I mean? And I think that's your favorite car. You know, because it's your passion. You know what I mean? You know, and I think in life, you know, if a lot of people, especially when they get in the middle age, I see especially with men and women, you know, that they just give up all their childhood passions and all their dreams, because now it's all about family and doing the right thing and doing things like that. And then they go through life in a state of apathy. You know, they're apathetic. You know, they feel like somebody cut their souls out, and you know, and they don't do anything for themselves. And they go through what I call midlife depression. You know, and I know I went through that, you know, because of the recession and all that. And I'm like, you know what, man, I gotta have a life. I gotta have, you know, I can't just, you know, get up and just do everything for everybody. You know, I gotta have a hobby, you know, and mine was, you know, just playing out with cool cars.
Yeah, absolutely. So once we started seeing some level of success, you know, in our lives, that's when, you know, my renewed passion, I guess, for cars started, because I grew up, you know, in the 80s and the 90s, you know, the Trans Am and, you know, Burt Reynolds and all that kind of stuff, absolutely. But to me, you know, these are trophies. I don't get excited and I don't feel successful, really. I mean, we own, I don't know how many real estate properties, and we own commercial properties together, and we have X amount of gyms and so forth. And somehow you just don't really feel that successful. A lot of people celebrate it, but we don't. But those to me are kind of like trophies.
Those are like, these are your milestones.
Yeah.
You know, milestones.
Reminder,
you know, for me, I remember growing up, I watched Cannonball Run. Remember that movie?
Right,
you know what I mean? The hot chicks in Lamborghini. You know what I mean? Yeah. And for me, I was like, man, you know, I want a Lamborghini someday. This is like my dream car. You know, I remember. Do you remember what is that? Magnum PI. Yeah. You know, when he with the red Ferrari. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I was like, oh man, he's a cool. You know, I want one. And ever since I was a little kid, I was looking into it, and I would always get excited to see one and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So for those people who, you know, are just like, have given up on their childhood dreams and, you know, and all their passion when they want it, I think that's a wrong thing to do. I'm not saying go and spend a bunch of money and jeopardize your family, but do it smartly. You know, if it went, when that recession was there, you know, even though I didn't have a lot of money, you know what I did? You know, I bought a old Honda S2000. You know, the little two-door, the convertible Honda, and it was like $12,000 or something like that. Remember that, the silver one?
Yeah,
you know, I was playing around with it. I was, you know, I felt like at least I have a little toy to play with, and I kind of get a renewal. And I just put it out for sale just to see somebody sell it. Somebody sold it, and I made a few $1,000s for it. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, and I'm like, and I bet you, if you weren't as successful as you are now, you would have some kind of toy. You can't just not have anything that you're not, you know, it might not be a Bentley or a Porsche, but it would be something that, you know, you can play around and be happy with.
Well, you know, the funny thing is that back in 2001, when Alexandra was born, I had that job in downtown. I was making $75,000 a year, and net after taxes, that's $4,200 a month. And I went and I bought the cheapest Ford Expedition you could find, right? And my payments were $450 a month, plus insurance, plus gas so that I can go back and forth to work. I was paying almost 20% of my income was to pay for that car, you know? And people celebrated it. They're like, congratulations, you know? Like, all right, he's a good man, hardworking man. 20% of your income, right? And now when you say you got to do things right, even though you might have 3, 4, 5 cars, I'm spending way less in terms of a percentage of my income of what I used to spend, you know? And and some people might criticize it, or they might think you're crazy, but you're actually in a better position to do it, you know? So there's something wrong
let's talk about that. I mean, I think we both have gone through a lot of criticism, you know, as we became more successful. You know, I've known you guys all this long, and I can tell you that nothing has changed. You're the same Luis that I've known 20 years ago. You're the same Ali that I know 20 years ago. You know, you guys still have the same habits, do the same thing, you know, and all that kind of stuff. You know, your income has gone up, but you are the same person, you know. how have people viewed you? I know, how people come to you and say, oh man, do you guys think you're all that because you make some? Because I know that's happened to you. I know it's happened to me. Yeah. How do you deal with that?
Yeah. Sometimes it's bothersome because I know deep inside that we're the same exact people. And, at the end of the day, we just are good people. So sometimes it bothers me, but I've learned to just focus on, the good and being positive, and they're just limiting, their limit on their own self is what is reflecting on them. Like they, I don't know if I can explain it properly, but they have a limit, a ceiling on their growth, so they think that everyone is the same.
But I would say, I don't want to interrupt, but a lot of our closest friends are people that have been really close to us, even when we were broke. We know a lot of people, but we just have a very small circle of close friends. And these people, they don't care.
Yeah, all of my closest friends, I've been friends with them since I was 14 years old. And they all, see us as the exact same people, because we are. So at the end of the day, it really only matters the people that you really, truly care about.
Okay,
right?
so I have a hard question to ask you, because I know that I lost my best friend when I became successful. You know what I mean? And I know you lost one of yours. Okay, and it was crazy for me because, the person that, I've always been happy for him. It's I've always been happy for him. I don't care what he had, not have. He was just my best friend. And he was always the guy who made the most money. He did the most things, and out of all of our circles. And once, for whatever reason, I started, doing better than him. I don't care, whatever. You know what I mean? I never said anything to him. I would hear from other people, his comments and the things that he would say, and I didn't want to believe it till actually I heard it from him. I remember one day. That I can cry thinking about it. I'm like, somebody that I love so much and I care so much would come and say, he came and goes, man, it's cool that Sam has all this stuff, but at least I get to sleep with my children every night and he doesn't, and I'm going like, wait a second, I have one big defeat, which is my divorce. To me, that's like, the big scar that I have. You are ready to open that up. You scream out loud any imperfections in my life, but you never celebrate anything good that I do, but you're easy to point out the one thing that went wrong, and it's unfortunate, man, that sometimes, man, I had to like cut ties, and I just don't, at this point, I don't know where you guys are in your life, but at this point, we talked about this before, it's like, you get to a point where, I feel like we're at our midlife, right? You spend half of your life, grinding, doing things. You got a place in your life, man. You know what? I'm looking at it like, my second half of life, man, I just don't want drama.
Right.
I don't have time to fight. Yeah. I don't want to be around anybody. I don't want to be around any kind of bad vibe and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I know you went through something similar, and how do you deal with that?
Well, for me, it was very refreshing to walk away from, because it was a very toxic relationship. So on many, many levels, I don't know, perhaps there was jealousy or whatever there was involved. I just needed to get away from it. I feel a lot better.
To me, I was never been, like whenever you guys do something cool, I'm so happy. Right. Mm-hmm. I'm like, man, I'm like, I'm so happy. Yeah. I'm the one cheering you guys on. And whenever I do something cool, you guys are the one to cheer us on. We can't wait to talk about it, and tell each other and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I just don't understand how it could be different. Yeah. How it could be different. It's nobody's better than anybody. Yeah, totally. You know what I mean? We're the same people.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as like the boys go, like my closest friend, they celebrate, something is happening that is good, they celebrate. It's kind of like when you buy a car, I feel like if I'm buying the car, I feel like it's mine, you're just as happy. It's like, damn, all right, you know what I mean? And those are the type of people that you need to surround yourself with, that's bottom line, yeah.
So these days with you I think we're in the same place. You know, we just don't allow or be around negativity. Right. Just cut it out. Just cut it out. Just can't do it. Like it's like, you know what I mean? It's like you just don't want to even be around it.
Yeah,
you know?
I absorb people's energy.
Yeah.
And it affects me. It completely affects me. So I just have to remove myself.
Yeah, we talked about this like a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
You know, okay. Let's see what else we got. Oh, there we go. So this is the Daily Bulletin. That's when we first started, like 100 locations. Did you ever thought 100 locations?
It's mind-blowing.
You know, and tell me, what do you see us in the next 5 years?
Man, vision is big. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, now it's like, now our vision is so huge. Back, 8 years ago, we're like, 1 or 2 camps. Right now it's like, oh my God, the world is just, at our fingertips. In the next 5 years, I would say we could easily be at 500 locations.
That's exactly the number that I was thinking. It's like we really haven't talked about this, but that's the number that's always been back in my head. To be able to have 500 locations. And imagine the amount of people that we're going to help, the amount of obesity will decrease, and all the stories and everybody that we help through this process. We had a guest earlier on the show, and that's lost 90 pounds. She was insecure, depressed. Now, because she lost the 90 pounds, she's a very, very successful businesswoman, having her own salon, opened up a second business. And we don't just help people physically, we change their lives. That's why we call it the Transformation Center, because we, once they transform physically, it definitely, it migrates to everything else in their life.
Yeah, I never in a million years, 8 years ago, thought that one little concrete 2,000 square foot space would turn into a company that would be changing millions of lives, really making a social impact.
Yeah.
Never.
And,
right?
we have a huge opportunity to create a premier and iconic brand. And the last 9 years, it's been a lot of work, but now it's getting serious. Yeah. This is
now,
it. Now
right?
this is serious, yes.
Now is a whole, it's not the same, it's a whole different game.
It's a whole different
game. It's a whole different game. It's a whole different company. It's, when somebody asks me a question, usually I was able to call a shot. You can get that done. I'm like, well, I don't know the procedure.
Let me get somebody.
Let me run with 3 people.
Plus our attorney.
Our attorney, all that kind of stuff. And they're like, well, aren't you the CEO? I'm like, I'm not. I can't. You know what I mean? When I think our child now is an adult. And now an adult can make decisions based on itself. And now our business is bigger than me and you now.
Yeah,
totally.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Totally.
It's kind of like, in a sense, the 3 of us own the company, but we feel that it's not our company, right? That we have to consider other people.
Yeah.
Too.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of people that are counting on us, obviously. Yes. So we need to make sure to make the right moves. Every move makes a difference.
Absolutely. When you have, so many people counting on you, that's a big responsibility, and you want to make sure that you do the right thing. It's not just your family, it's many, many people's family, and you have, the ethical and moral obligation to make sure you always do the right thing, so. All right, so let me see. Oh, look at the family. Tell me about the picture on the left. That's in the desert home, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's in Rancho Mirage. We spend Thanksgiving typically there. That was Thanksgiving there last year.
Awesome. And this was at, I think, the steakhouse, right?
Yeah.
Laguna.
Yeah,
when you first started dating Crystal.
Yeah.
Gosh, that was awesome. Yeah. At the Selene Steakhouse, I think.
Yep, that's it. Yeah.
Awesome. And there you guys are.
On the left, that's your engagement party.
Yeah.
On the right is Cancun, about a month ago or so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what I admire about you guys, I have so many admirations for you guys, but one thing that I admire most is that you guys are the hardest workers. You get whatever gets done, but you can also have fun doing it. And it's hard for me to do that. I'm taking notes. It's hard for me. I'm not one of those guys that when I'm focused on something, I'm focused on it. Yeah. And sometimes I drive myself crazy and I burn myself out, and I get frustrated, and sometimes it carries through work, and you guys are able to focus when it's time to focus and you guys are able to set it aside and kind of de-stress and have fun and come back refocused. And how do you do that? Because I mean, I'm telling you, like, I'm taking notes and I'm admiring that about you guys. And I'm like, man, they work hard and, they play hard, and then they come back, work hard, and I'm like, I'm working hard, but then when it's time to come back, I don't get a break. And then I'm like frustrated, when things don't go right, and I think that you guys, I'm getting better at it now that I'm married to Crystal and and have a family, that kind of stuff. I'm getting better at it. But man, I mean, you guys can say, I don't care. You guys can say, man, I was walking around grumpy as a motherfucker. You know what I mean? I was getting frustrated. You know what I mean? I was because I was just working myself to death. I was working myself to death. I was working literally 7 days a week. And then, being a single dad, having the kids with me, it was never like a sensory break. It was in the office, working at home, then the kids, and, and it was never, so it's always like, overloaded with everything. And when you don't have a time to de-stress, it's kind of like, you get like a little tired and grumpy and all that kind of stuff. I'm getting better at it though.
We love to work. I can't imagine even when we retire, at some point in our lives, I know that we will always be doing something productive. We absolutely love to work, but we also love to take time off. And I think the difference between us, but because of the fact we work together, we could be on vacation and he could be on his phone responding to emails, and I'm not gonna give him shit because I know he's working.
That's a huge difference, yeah.
It is, because if I was, not involved in the business or something, I would probably be like—
I can't do that.
Exactly.
I can't do that, man. I can't do that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So,
hey, man, because you guys are together. If I come home and I'm still doing work, wifey doesn't like, hey, man, give me some attention now.
Totally. Totally.
That makes sense. I never thought that way.
I think that's a big part of it. Why it works, because on weekends, he or I will be doing something, or when we go away, we'll be doing something work related, and we never complain about it. But it's because we both know that
and
it's
together
the
business understand that.
Yeah.
And, we put in the time. Do you remember back when we were, had our distributorship? I mean, I worked Tuesday through Sunday, right? I would go out of town every Saturday and Sunday. Those were work days for me. I would take Monday off. And I did that for like about 6 years. I mean, we never really had a weekend off. And sometimes we weren't together most of the times on the weekend. So it's, a lot of sacrifices that you did. And it's always, to build your business and to make money. And, there's a lot of focus on that. But at the same time, through age, you kind of realize that we're born to live too, though, And my business is my business, but it's not my entire life. And there came a point in my time, in my life, where I started noticing that I felt happiest among my friends and my family, not so much, from the cars or the watches, right? And you're like, wait a second, I feel that a lot of my happiness comes from the relationships that I have, with her, with my kids, with my in-laws, with my friends, when we travel, those experiences. So, we made a decision. I told her, hey, there's only 52 weekends out of the week. Every single
you said this like 2 years ago, maybe? Yeah.
We're going to make every single one count, right? It was a conscious decision.
So now it's like, I'm committed.
Hey.
Cheers.
Hey, you know what, man? That's awesome. That's awesome, because I mean, like I said, like I admire so many different, things with you guys, so many qualities that you guys have, and that's a huge one, and believe me, man, I'm taking notes and I want to be like you guys, that way, more, and I'm becoming better and all that, and all that kind of stuff. But you just said something that really, really, stood out, and that was, work is work. It's not my entire life. Right? I value work and I love work, but it's not my entire life. And you have to be able to do that, or you drive yourself crazy, you're gonna burn yourself out and all that kind of stuff, which I have a tendency to sometimes be obsessive compulsive about some things, you know what I mean? And so that's a great point. And you already said, you already have the relationships, and there's only 52 weeks. 52 weekends, 52 weekends, so why not, take advantage of those couple of days. And I think knowing what you have, it's kind of like, how they said, if you want a bigger bicep or stronger bicep, you don't work it out every day. You work it out and you let it rest. You know what I mean? And I think kind of like that, then you can kind of recharge and come back and even stronger, or maybe have a different perspective.
Totally.
Because if you're in the weeds the whole time, sometimes you don't see the perspective. Sometimes you just be out there outside and a great idea comes to you.
Yeah, it's
because
inspiring.
you're not.
You're exposed to other things. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, man. Well, you know, I can't tell you, you know, this has been way overdue.
Yeah, so fun.
You know, I love you guys. You know, you guys are family. You know, and I can't wait to see what we have, you know, in store in the next few years. Yeah. It's been an absolute hell of a ride.
Yeah. It's
hell of a ride,
awesome.
man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to thank you for making my life a wonderful life.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Appreciate you, man. Love you guys. Thank you so much for being on the show.